How are you doing there, friends? Good morning. This is a Saturday for those of you who are watching it the same day that I record it. This is Bill MacDonald, the writing doctor, and today I want to show you part two of how to use the prompt page to help your students with their essays with the time that's remaining, how to turn a 1 into a 2 into a 3 into a 4, and how to make the 4s even stronger. Okay? The topic that I'm going to share with you is from a dear friend of mine. I went to her school already last month or the month before, and we did a training with her teachers so that we could do what we call SWAG. SWAG is an acronym that stands for Supporting Writing Across Grades, and not enough grade levels are doing writing or connecting all of their subjects to writing. So what I do in supporting is show them how to scaffold writing across grade levels so that even if it comes to sentence writing across grades, that everybody is doing a little bit of writing in an open-ended format. So today's topic that we're going to use is write about a superhero. A hero is a person, and that's one of the five W's. A person is a who. The prompts for fourth grade are always going to be about one of the five W's. Write about one person. Write about your favorite time of year. That was a when. Write about your favorite place. That was a where. Write about one reason you like fourth grade. That was a why. Write about something you would like to do in the future. That was a what would you like to do. Write about one invention that you think is important. What invention do you think is important? Write about something that was something that's difficult for you. What is difficult? Unfortunately, that prompt was negative, so your kids have to spend the entire essay in their why and their examples explaining why that activity or that person or that thing is a negative thing instead of a positive thing because of some specific words in the prompt that say follow the specific demands, plural, of the prompt. And so if you're only following the prompt half the time, then you can only get half of a 4, which is a 2. Okay? So why am I wearing my weird looking glasses today? Because maybe my superhero could be Clark Kent. Clark Kent is the human form of Superman. I like him because he's so kind, he's patient, he loves Lois Lane, but he's willing to wait for her to love him back because she doesn't see his human qualities as something that are as appealing as his Superman, superhuman qualities. So if I want to use fantasy, I could go ahead and use Superman because he's someone, he's a person, that's a who. If I wanted to use my faith, another F, fact, fiction, fantasy, if I wanted to use another person, I could say Jesus. If I was a Christian, because you're not allowed to tell kids they can't use their faith to write about their ideas regarding the topic. So keep in mind, there was another man, Martin Luther King. He believed that equality, regardless of your race or your creed, your status of employment, he felt like everybody should be treated equally. And so one religion was formed based on his beliefs called the Lutheran Church. And so you could pick anybody to be your hero. So this W is a who, but you remember there's always going to be one of the five W's. This is the last year for STAR, but help practice with your kids. thinking of the 5 W's. Is it a who, a what, a when, a where, or a why? Give your kids lots of those so they can practice. Now, before we get into the essay, I want to remind some of you that maybe didn't see part 1 of the video, using the prompt page as your most important P. This is my Advanced English Language Arts writing folder. It has my website, The Right Prescription, where you click www.therightprescription.com. If you want some of my hard products or you want information about a training, you'll use The Right Prescription. If you want to go to my Teachers Pay Teachers page, if you want to join my writing club, you'll type "May the Fours be with you," so that you'll see my writing club and you'll be able to join it and get lots of videos and strategies like this. What I do is I post them first to YouTube, then to Facebook, so that those of you who maybe are not able to get access to Facebook during the school day, you can go to my YouTube page. If you have any questions about strategies or trainings, and make sure you want to, I better underline that my folder, I've been using this one for a while, so it's kind of worn out. It's writing_doctor spelled out DOCTOR at yahoo.com. So if you don't message me, feel free to email me. If you have any questions regarding strategies or ideas or trainings, scoring of essays, like the one I'm going to score for you today. So let's take a look. Why did I make this plan? Not because I wanted it to follow my program. I wanted my program to follow the prompt page and what the scoring guide says. So the first bullet in the Be Sure To section says, clearly state your central idea for 4th grade. Clearly state your controlling idea for 7th grade. So this is a central idea statement or a controlling idea statement. For 9th grade, it says clearly state your thesis statement. So this is my thesis statement. So in order to get a 1, this yellow light, it has to respond, the idea, the one eyeball in your head, has to respond to the topic, which is another word for prompt, the red light. The second bullet said, organize your essay. What organize means is make sure it's structured like expository. We don't want a big S right here in the middle of the body, which would be a story. We want to know why you think that idea about the topic is correct. So if the readers can see that you're giving reasons, well, let's think of our left hand as our first reason, and we'll call this thumb our topic sentence, our main idea. And if we're going to have more than one reason, then your second thumb is going to be your second reason, your second main idea, which will turn into a topic sentence. And if those are your reasons, what does it say right underneath? Give me an example or an experience to go with it. So example comes before EXP, explain, in the dictionary. So you want to give an example before you start trying to explain it. And the cool thing is that's the third bullet. In order to get a 3, it said develop your ideas in detail. So every single reason you give, every single example you give, you better be explaining it, or don't bother putting it, because then it becomes a list and it stays a 2. So if you explain your example or examples, think of it like this: example 1 or 2, then GPS is not global positioning system. It's get pretty specific using what I call the 6 W's plus 1 I can ask you revision questions that you can add in terms of organization and development to your examples or reasons that are who, what, when, where, why, which. That's the 6 W's. And the how is the other one. 75% of the students in Texas get zeros, ones, and twos. They don't go from green to greener to greenest. They stay stuck with lots of reasons, lots of ideas, lots of examples that they don't bother explaining. Well, how do I get from 3 land to 4 land? It said to choose your words carefully. So if you look at my hand, I'm wearing my wedding ring today, okay? So the first bullet said, make sure you have a central idea statement in your introduction. Make sure you have a reason uh, and an example. Make sure you explain it to explain it to get a 3 and explode it. And you'll notice that my ring there, uh, think of exploding as engaging the reader. And how do you do that? Well, when it says choose your words carefully, what they're saying is think of the word, it starts with a W. And so if you take a W and break it into 2 parts, you get voice and vocabulary. And that's why I have the little brain inside my head there. Inside my brain are 2 things that I can add to the essay, my thoughts and my opinions about the topic. My other V is inside my heart. What are my feelings and emotions? And so if you're not allowing your students to write in first person, talking about how they personally feel, then they're never going to be able to share the writer behind the writing. And that's why most kids get stuck in 3 land. And so I have a TOES acronym that I teach you: thoughts, opinions, emotions, senses, what you might say, salsa, which is high vocabulary and figurative language. That's the 4th bullet. The last bullet has an E, and I'm going to call it not just E, but ER. Take your paper to the emergency room of editing and revising. Editing is cups, capitalization, usage, punctuation, spelling, and sentence boundaries for run-ons and fragments. And arm is when you add, remove, replace, or remove things, but you have to have at least 1 sentence. And end if you're going to restate or repeat, and ending if you want to rephrase it in a different way so you're not making the reader eat the same words in your conclusion, or a conclusion, a reflection that really brings closure, that ties everything together like the laces on a shoe. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to show you 2 essays. And what I did, I went to page 507 of my binder, and this is a colorful analytic feedback that I can give. My friend's name is Robin, and her first student, I gave a 2/2+ to the student, which means that he or she would probably get a 4. Okay? The purpose was expository, and the prompt was my hero. The engine or engines that you see are the ideas. Hopefully there's only always going to be one yellow idea about the topic. Okay, so let me read it to you. It all started when I was watching Injustice League, and so I have a little check mark that there's a hook there. She had a little anecdote in Justice League. The reason that she's watching it is because it's going to introduce you to her superhero. And a girl from the sky, her name was Supergirl. And so there's my superhero, Supergirl. She was one of the Kryptonians, describing her a little bit. She was in the Justice League. At that moment, she was my hero. Okay? Now, that was just all of her introduction. And I heard about 5 or 6 details inside that part. And so if you go to Dollar Tree and get some Smarties, let your kids see the quantity of details. Now, let's see why I had to give this paper a 2. If you look at all these different colors, every time that I give you a different color, it means the student's sharing a different reason or example with you. All right, so the first reason is that some people are a menace. When there is a menace, she will save the day. There's a menace, she's going to save the day. Well, how does she do that? She is bold enough to catch robbers. Okay, catching robbers is a detail. Bold is someone's opinion. So I'm going to give extra credit for that. Okay, so how does she catch the robbers? What kind of robbers does she catch? Where does she catch them? What are they doing? Let's see. She will bring an old lady across the street. So I drew a wall because she whiplashed me, or he, to another idea. Bring an old lady across the street is another example of a superhero. So I'm going to go ahead and place a Smartie there and say, okay, how much time is she going to be spending on the importance of helping old ladies cross the street? She will receive a baby cat from a tree, since that has nothing to do with the old lady. Maybe the cat belongs to the lady, but since she didn't tell me, I do another wall. We're flashing the reader. She's going to rescue a cat from a tree. So if you think about these as seeds, your job as a teacher is to decide which of these that are here are seeds that could be easy enough to water to turn this 2 into a 3. Since we're not done yet with the conclusion, and we'd hope to be done by now and already be working on our conclusion, and that all of these would have had lots of Smarties, we have to go on to the next detail. She is very strong, okay?